Ian is a great fighter, good man, and I just respect him. He gave me a hard time, but I still prove every fight. Thank you for this match. Россия, доказали, что мы номер один в мире. Все рекорды мы побьем.
Islam, so we were talking earlier, you broke Anderson Silva's record, and
No more Anderson Silva. This last week, they always, people bother me, Anderson Silva. Now it's Islam record. People who want to beat Islam record. No more Anderson Silva record.
Other than one moment in round 2 where Islam Makhachev head Ian Garry and caught him with the toes, other than one moment in round 2 where Islam Makhachev head kicked Ian Garry and caught him with the toes at the end of the head kick and knocked him down, Ian Garry gets right back up, and it's fine. Just boring fuck, dude. He landed a head kick in round 2, and other than that, he did nothing! For 20 minutes! He did nothing! That's the truth! Zero! He caught him with a head kick in round 2, and other than that, he did fucking nothing! The whole fight! There we go.
The fight is finally over, but the real reaction has only just begun. Fighters, analysts, and UFC legends are now weighing in on the result. Islam Makhachev once again showed why he remains so dangerous. The UFC 330 battle between Islam Makhachev and Ian Machado Garry has officially reached its conclusion, with Makhachev surviving 5 grueling rounds in Philadelphia and leaving with his championship intact. The UFC welterweight king successfully defended his belt against the dangerous challenger, securing a unanimous decision victory on the judges' scorecard. From the opening bell, Makhachev leaned heavily on elite wrestling, grappling, suffocating pressure, and positional dominance, preventing Garry from comfortably controlling the fight from distance. Garry used his size, reach, footwork, and striking to create serious problems for the champion and force uncomfortable exchanges. Yet whenever Garry appeared to find his rhythm, Makhachev repeatedly closed the gap, dragged the fight into his territory, and took control where he was most dangerous. Sonnen believes Makhachev possesses the tools to stop Ian Garry rapidly, but he doesn't see Garry carrying that same finishing danger against Islam. Sonnen also rejects the belief that Garry's clearest route to victory was finding a knockout. Instead, he argues that Garry needed to secure 3 rounds and force the judges into a decision. In Sonnen's view, Islam simply has far more opportunities to finish the fight than Garry ever did.
Now, Islam does have the capabilities to get rid of Ian fast. I don't know that Ian has the capabilities to get rid of Islam fast. I do not believe, contrary to popular belief, contrary to my partners over at DraftKings who believe if Ian Garry is going to win, he's more likely to win by knockout than anything else, I don't agree. I believe he needs to win 3 rounds.
Jorge Masvidal expects Ian Garry to turn the opening 2 rounds into a serious test for Islam Makhachev, but he believes the danger will slowly shift as Makhachev's relentless pressure begins draining Garry's energy. Masvidal sees Islam patiently hunting for the right moment, waiting until Garry's movement fades before finally finding the takedown he needs. Once Garry starts slowing, Makhachev's control could become increasingly difficult to escape, and according to Masvidal, that is where the fight could suddenly unravel. He ultimately predicts Makhachev will break through and finish Garry before the final bell.
Makhachev a little bit that he's more of a fighter. Makhachev, his feet are more on the ground. He's either going to grapple you or throw some bombs. So I think it's going to be hard to find Ian the first 2 rounds. But I think as Ian starts to wear out and Makhachev starts to wear on him a little bit and change up the level, get a good fake, land a good shot, then get to the leg, that's going to really start to wear on Ian. I think he finishes him, but it's not going to be an easy 2 rounds. It's the way I see it. You know, it's the way I've seen it since the fight's been announced. I think the first 2 rounds are going to be tough for him.
Daniel Cormier believes Ian Garry's greatest opportunity lies in controlling the distance and fighting at his preferred range. But against someone like Islam Makhachev, that task becomes far more difficult than it sounds. Makhachev's constant pressure has a way of closing space, disrupting rhythm, and forcing opponents into uncomfortable situations. Cormier also notes that Islam has been studying Garry closely, paying careful attention to every detail of his game. In Cormier's view, that sends an important message. It reveals that Makhachev holds a deep respect for what Garry is capable of inside the cage. And sometimes, that kind of respect creates an even more dangerous champion, one who arrives more focused, more prepared, and ready for every challenge that may come.
Of working on the wrestling, he gives himself a chance. But ultimately, I think for Garry to be successful, he's got to try to find range, and that's more difficult to do, and easier said to do when you're fighting a guy like Islam who constantly is in your face and pressuring you. But hey, little quick point at the top. Islam is paying attention. I truly believe that's because he has a real high level of respect for Ian Garry in Ian Garry's game.
Danny Segura sees Ian Garry as a highly talented fighter and expects him to turn this matchup into a genuine battle. He believes Garry is sometimes overlooked because of how fans view his personality outside the cage, rather than what he can actually do inside it. Still, Segura thinks Islam Makhachev's control will ultimately become the deciding factor across 25 minutes. In his view, Islam can limit the damage he takes while controlling enough of the action to leave a strong impression on the judges. As the final horn approaches, Segura expects Makhachev's control and composure to carry him through. Ultimately, Danny Segura predicts Islam will secure the victory by unanimous decision.
I think Ian's going to put on a competitive fight. I think Ian's very, very good. I think people underestimate him because they don't like who he is outside of the cage, but I think he's very skilled. But I do think it's going to go a decision in favor of Islam Makhachev. I do think over the course of 25 minutes, he gets enough control and avoid enough damage to get the nod on the judges' score.
Michael Bisping believes this matchup could become a nightmare for Ian Garry. He says that once Islam Makhachev gets his hands on Garry, taking the Irishman down may become almost effortless, but that only creates the real danger. Can Garry actually escape and return to his feet? If he remains trapped beneath Islam's relentless control, Bisping believes the entire fight could begin slipping away in a matter of moments. Makhachev has repeatedly shown that once he establishes control, he can turn small openings into devastating sequences, and with his proven ability to finish opponents, Bisping sees Garry's situation becoming extremely dangerous if he cannot break free from Islam's pressure.
This is the one. It's going to be really tough. You leave no stone unturned and you get ready. But here's the reality of it. If Islam Makhachev gets a hold of him, he's going to take him down really easy. And then the big question becomes, can Ian Garry get back to his feet? Because if he can't get back to his feet, then guess what? It's probably over. And we know that Islam Makhachev is a ridiculous finish.
Javier Mendez believes critics are making a serious mistake by overlooking Islam Makhachev's striking ability. After spending more than 12 years working alongside Islam, Mendez says he has watched him evolve into an exceptionally polished and dangerous striker. He stresses that Makhachev is completely locked in, with years of relentless preparation alongside his coaches sharpening every part of his game. Mendez also insists Islam doesn't have to depend on takedowns to defeat Ian Garry. In his view, Makhachev has enough striking ability to create major problems for Garry and force him into situations he may not be prepared to handle.
That's what people are sleeping on. So don't sleep on that part, because that's the part that he's so damn good we can do this with him. I've been doing this with Islam now. Remember, I've been with him for 12 years or plus, 12 years plus, you know, so there's a lot of work that's been done with him and I and other coaches, you know, and he's dialed in as a striker, and people sleep on his striking and think that he has to take Ian down. He doesn't have to take him.
He may not even need to take Garry to the ground. Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson believes Islam Makhachev brings a dangerous combination of elite wrestling, powerful body kick, and sharp boxing. But he says everything could come down to one critical question: how does Islam successfully close the distance against Ian Garry? Garry's movement could become his greatest weapon, allowing him to stay away from those exchanges and keep the champion chasing. Yet if Makhachev manages to trap him and force the fight into his preferred range, the momentum could change instantly. For Johnson, the battle over distance, timing, and movement could ultimately determine who controls the fight.
For Islam Makhachev's very good about wrestling. He has the body kick, very good hands. So it's going to depend, like, how he's going to be able to get to Ian Garry, and, you know, how is Ian Garry going to be able to move and negate the clash that needs to happen in the fight.
Joe Rogan has praised Islam Makhachev's striking, especially the way he attacks an opponent's lead leg with damaging low kicks. He pointed out how quickly Islam can disrupt movement by repeatedly targeting the leg, forcing opponents to adjust before they even realize what is happening. Rogan also emphasized the influence of Khabib Nurmagomedov and the elite training environment surrounding their team. In his view, Islam's striking has developed far beyond what many expected when he first entered the UFC, and that evolution creates another layer of danger. For Rogan, Makhachev is no longer simply a dominant grappler with improving hands. His increasingly complete stand-up game could make an already difficult fighter even harder to survive against.